So the Springboks have now announced their 33-man squad for the Rugby World Cup 2023. Some fantastic players, some left out, others coming back in, mainly injury-based, but we will be looking through at them for this video. Getting straight into it, the props for the Springboks, it will be Stephen Kitsoff, Vincent Koch, Frans Malherbe, Oxnard, Trevor Nakanye. So that does mean the Springboks, they've only gone with the 5 props. The player to miss out from the Rugby Championship, it is Thomas du Toit. Now the benefit that they've got of Trevor Nakanye is he can play both positions. Alongside that, the return of Oxnard after his injury layoff. I'm sure he'll be very happy to be back out there. For the Boks and the hookers, they have just got the 2, Bongion Benambi and Malcolm Marx. So they did decide to not have Joseph Weber in the squad. Instead, they've still got Dion Fourie as a possible hooker cover if there is any sort of injury there. In the locks, Ebenetsabev, fantastic player, huge amount of experience for the Springboks, definitely one to watch out for when they do head to France. Jean Klein, I think he was probably one of the more surprising inclusions with the amount of locks that they did have available, although there was actually one less that we did find out just a wee while ago. Marvin O'Ree, he has had some pretty decent form throughout the Rugby Championship, so some people happy with that decision, others not so much, but Marvin O'Ree, he will be excited for his first Rugby World Cup. And the last man, a man who unfortunately has succumbed to a lot of injuries since 2019's World Cup, RG Snyman now gets that opportunity. Played well throughout the Rugby Championship, mainly coming off the bench, but I'm wondering whether or not that will be the role he's asked to play when we get to that World Cup. Reason being, there is no Ludiacha. Now, unfortunately, they did actually mention about 2 players being out due to injury, that being Hondre Pollard and Lukanyawam. Now, they mentioned about Ludiacha as well, but they didn't say it was due to injury. They did say it was actually due to sickness. So I'm not too sure what's happening there. Hopefully, whatever it is, Ludiacha is able to get through it, and it isn't anything too serious. Although you would think with him missing a World Cup, there must be something there. So like I mentioned, hopefully he is going to be alright. The loose forwards, this is a long list. Pieter-Steph du Toit, Sia Khaleesi returning from his injury to captain the Springboks in France, Quagga Smith, Marco van Staden, Duane Vermeulen, and also Jasper Wiese. So quite a few players in that loose forward trio. Marco van Staden had a couple fantastic games throughout the Rugby Championship, and in that first match up against Australia, I think proved to a lot of people why he should be there. For the Springboks, a lot of experience with Duane Vermeulen, also Pieter-Steph du Toit, 2 men who have been there, done that when it comes to lifting that World Cup trophy. And those boys want another one, and they won't want to accept anything less. Utility forwards, Dion Fourie, like I mentioned, can also play the hooker role, and Franco Mostert, a man who some people thought may not get selected here, but he's done a lot for the Springboks. He was great in that last World Cup under pressure, and in those big matches is normally when we see Mostert really step up. Now this was the biggest surprise, I think, of any of the announcement. Well, one of the big surprises. There were actually quite a few, but this one, the scrum halves. I'm just going to have my fingers here to help count them. Faf de Klerk, first one announced. Jaden Hendrickse returns back into the side. I realised I had to put it around this way or else it's a rude gesture. Second scrum half here for the Springboks. The next name that they announced was Grant Williams. To everyone, they were a little bit disappointed. What happened to Cobus Reinach? He got a couple opportunities throughout the Rugby Championship. Why does he not get that chance? Herschel Yankees, he's also missing. Then they announced the 4th, Cobus Reinach. 4 scrum halves. I believe, if I'm not wrong, the Springboks the only side to have done that so far throughout these World Cup announcements. We have seen the All Blacks, we've seen Fiji, Samoa, England, Argentina. I don't believe any of those other sides have picked 4 scrum halves, although I did hear mention about how it could be because Grant Williams, etc. can go out to the wing, but they've already got quite a few wingers, as you will hear just a little bit later on. Fly halves, Mani Lebok and also Damien Valimza listed as that fly half, although I believe if the Springboks can have it their way after how Mani Lebok has been playing in the Rugby Championship at 10 and after how well we saw Damien Valimza play at fullback, I believe that that will be what they do have for those positions. Centres, Damien Dialende, Andre Esterhazen. So gets the opportunity after some fantastic form and also Jesse Creel. No Lucanio and for the fly halves, no Andre Pollard. Unfortunately, both going to be out injured for this World Cup. Two massive names to be missing. Lucanio, sensational player. Andre Pollard, everyone seemed to have him as the first pick fly half. And now Mani Libok, after only having 7 caps, going to have to make sure he has a fantastic Rugby World Cup. Outside backs, Kurt Leorinsa, Cheslin Colby, we know what that man can do in a Rugby World Cup. Vili LaRue, Makazole Mapimpi, and Cannon Moody. So after that Rugby World Cup warm-up game up against Argentina, where Moody was sensational, some say he played himself into that Springbok jersey, but a big congratulations to the 33 men who have been selected. They have still got 2 more warm-up games before the Rugby World Cup, one against Wales and then one up against the All Blacks at Twickenham. Now, if there are any injuries throughout those games, the players who have missed out still will have an opportunity of making their way into the team, and as those updates do occur, we will be letting you know exactly what is happening. But thank you all very much for tuning in. Do let me know what you think of the squad in the comments down below. We will be live on the channel doing the live commentary for all of the Springboks games, as well as every match of the Rugby World Cup. So be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, alongside also doing the lineup announcements and previews and reviews along the way. But thank you all very much for tuning in, and I will see you all for the next one.